So, welcome to the latest edition of the Wirecast, and today I am joined by Dave Unsworth. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you, James.
So, Dave, we'll start off with your kind of relationship with the Warrington Wolves. How did it start? What is it now? And tell us a little bit about the bits in between.
Right. First game I was taken to was by my dad when I was 10 years old. Infamous Warrington Wigan New Year's Day World War III game. As you can imagine, from that point onwards, I was hooked. Started playing pretty much around that time as well. Been a Warrington fan ever since. It's just been a big part of my life growing up and continues to be now, and it's something that I do with my son. Obviously, we're seeing semi-good times at the moment. However, been a Warrington fan for the past 35 years. I've seen a few ups, mainly lows, though, to be honest with you. But I think that's part and parcel of being a Warrington fan. You embrace everything that comes with it, and unfortunately, there are a few lows with that. But a big part of my life.
So, in terms of kind of you come here with your son now.
Yep.
We've got some good times kind of coming up in the next few weeks when we head off to Wembley. Will you be going?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your plan for the day?
Yeah, taking my son down. We're going to travel down in the morning, get the train in, spend the night there, hopefully have a good day of it, recreate the memories of taking my son back in 2019, which I think got him hooked into being a Warrington fan now. So he's got me to thank for that, or blame, however it ends up in the future. So yeah, they're really looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll come back with a win.
Fantastic. So you talked a little bit about some of the good times and some of the not so good times with Warrington. Is there a game or a player or a memory that sticks out for you, either being here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium or previously when you kind of maybe watched some games at Wildersport?
There's been loads throughout my time. It's hard to believe that it's 35 years that I've been watching Warrington now, which is a very long time. From starting that very first game, the New Year's Day World War III game, my dad took me there, got me hooked. It became a thing between me and my dad. We went over to watch Warrington home and away for the best part of 5 or 6 years, I think. My dad worked behind the bar at Wilderspool, so that introduced me to a lot of the players at the time. Some great characters there. Obviously, I was a ball boy, so Walker was in charge of the ball boys, so lots of memories from Walker there. But I think that period as a Warrington fan, notwithstanding the 1990 Cup final and the 92 Regal Trophy final, there wasn't much to shout about as a Warrington fan. So yeah, you've seen lots of lows there, but I think part and parcel of being a Warrington fan is you stick through it. It's part and parcel of your makeup, and just got loads of great memories, to be honest with you. The end of the Wilderspool era, and then moving to the Halliwell Jones, and been a lot more successful at the Halliwell Jones, I think, and it's been really enjoyable to continue that tradition now, starting to bring my son with me.
Fantastic. So, obviously, like you say, you talk a lot about the here and the now. So you've seen different kind of teams over those years, and kind of, does it feel as if there's a bit of a different approach this season, a different atmosphere, a different, I guess, kind of momentum starting to build with this team under the new coach?
Yeah, definitely. I think from the outside looking in, you can almost sense that the players are playing for Sam. He's an awe-inspiring character, and I think you can just see that they want to play for him. Either they want to play for him or they're a little bit scared of him, potentially a little bit of both, but they don't want to let him down. And you can see that comes across in the interviews with players, the interviews that Sam gives, and they all seem to be really bought into what he wants to achieve for the club, which is great as a supporter.
And you had the privilege of meeting him this morning.
Yeah.
What were your kind of first impressions of him in person?
He just has an aura, doesn't he? He's never met me before. He came across, he just chatted away as if we're mates. He's a lovely fella, isn't he? But yeah, he does seem to have this aura about him.
So, kind of in terms of, kind of you mentioned before around how important the club has been to you and to your family. Can you give us a sense, as a Warringtonian, what this club means to the town?
I think being situated where we are in between the two big football cities of Liverpool and Manchester, this gives us our identity, doesn't it? It's the one thing that we've got that we can shout about and hopefully be proud of more often than not. And I think in recent times we've started to see that more than we have in the past. Yeah, I think that more than anything.
So, kind of bringing us into kind of one of the reasons why you're here today. You've developed a real strong connection with our community foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of how that started and kind of what your maybe impressions of what the foundation were before you started to realise kind of the activities that we're running in the town?
Yeah, so I suppose my interaction with the foundation started by chance more than anything. I've got a couple of my friends who've done some of the bike rides before, the annual foundation rides. I, in the past, had been a runner, and I've been told after hurting my back by a doctor to go get a bike. So I got talked into doing the first one, which I really bought into the cycle ride after that. It was such a great event, such great camaraderie, just such great memories that have come from all the rides that I've done. But that first one was just by stumbled upon it more than anything. Since then, I've got two daughters who are neurodiverse. One has been attending activities put on by the foundation for the best part of 2 years now, and my nearly 5-year-old, she's just started attending activities herself. So it brings a whole lot of help to my family, to be honest with you. My girls are really, really flourishing because of the activities that they do. And I suppose my involvement now in the foundation with the things that I can do to help is just me giving back a little bit, really. I know I'm helping you a little bit, trying to do a bit of the organisation of the bike rides, which I see as the least that I can do, to be honest with you, for what I get back from the foundation and what you use my family.
That's really nice to hear that, Dave. Thank you. And I think I just want to kind of unpick both parts of that. So we'll come back to your family kind of at the end, because I think there's a lot more to kind of delve into there. But I guess kind of going back to that first interaction you had with the foundation, what are some of those early memories about that first bike ride that, again, kind of have given you that kind of hook to stay involved in those type of events?
It was a slow burner. So having got a bit of a back injury, I was about 30 or so, and couldn't do the activities I normally do. So I started toying with the idea of going on a bike, bought a bike, didn't really take it very seriously. One of my friends he's done every one of the rides for us, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He would mention it to me year on year, come and do the bike ride, come and do the bike rides. To the point where we went up to Newcastle and met him after he'd done it. And I think he sowed the seed, and after a couple of years, I finally bit the bullet and went, let's give it a go this year. After that initial interaction, I was truly hooked, because I think, as I mentioned earlier, the memories you get from it, despite, we're doing it for a serious reason, because we're there to make money for the foundation, which it desperately needs. But I think what we get as people from doing these rides and all the other activities that the foundation do, raising money for them, it just gives you so much of that. I don't want to say a warm fuzzy feeling, but it does. It's a great feeling to be involved in it, giving something back. But I think the camaraderie you get there is just second to none. Having played competitive rugby in my youth, it's the closest I've come to that team environment, so to speak.
So if you were to give a message to someone that's maybe seen our Cycle to the Seaside bike ride advertised and is maybe kind of not sure whether they should get involved, have you got kind of any insights really into kind of what that ride would involve, but also maybe kind of some words of encouragement that might kind of get somebody to just sign up on that link and get involved for the very first time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Cycle to the Seaside ride that's planned is just over, it's about 100 miles there or thereabouts, there and back. Sounds like a huge amount, and I think if you think of it as a mountain, it's not really, is it? I think if you've got a semi-decent level of fitness and the right mindset, you could come and do that bike ride. It's not a race. I know we've got the Tour of Britain coming here very shortly. It's nothing like that. It's a nice steady pace. It doesn't push you too hard, and with the environment that it takes place in, everybody can pretty much do it. As long as you've got that base level of fitness, I would really encourage anyone to do it. And I think once you've done one, you will be hooked and you will want to come back every year.
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, there's some really kind of positive messages that come out of that. And you also mentioned about the giving back side of it. So your kind of volunteering now is to help with the logistics of those fundraising bike rides as well. So tell us a little bit about kind of what your day job involves and how maybe some of those skills have been very useful to us as a charity in making sure that we make those rides bigger and better every year to raise more money for the foundation.
Yeah. I currently work for United Utilities, great employer, really look after you. I'm doing various roles at the moment. I think throughout my career, I've worked in transport and logistics and have been very much an organiser, and hopefully I bring some of that to the party. And I think just having that natural organisational mind helps take a bit of pressure off yourself, because I know it's far too much. Having done it with you now for the past couple of years, it's a huge amount that goes on to make these rides happen. It's not just a case of rocking up with your bike and then off we go. Matt and Debbie are involved with us as well. But I think, my background and my experience and my skill set hopefully has been a big help to you.
That's been a massive help. And again, I think kind of people maybe don't appreciate the work that goes on to put together an event like that. We start meeting kind of before Christmas in terms of the following year's ride. So again, kind of your help and your attributes are incredibly useful, and thank you for those. Kind of moving into kind of the other part now in terms of putting your dad hat on. What's the foundation given your family? What's it done to them? How's it changed them? How's it kind of developed them as people?
I think what it does is it creates a little bit of a focus. I mentioned earlier, I've got two girls who are neurodiverse, and they're not neurodiverse enough that they can't attend or any mainstream activity. They can do, but I think Holly, my eldest daughter now, she would choose 8 days a week to come and attend WolfPrint over a mainstream activity. And I think what it does, it provides some structure to her life. It gives her something to look forward to, and it just means she can go and enjoy herself. And I think as a dad, that's brilliant, because it means you just want your kids to be happy. And I think the foundation allows that. The work that Amelia does and the rest of the team with her is really, really important to my life and my family. I'm sure my wife would say the same. And it just gives them that little bit of activities and the ability for them to relax in the environment provided, probably that they wouldn't get elsewhere.
And what is it about, you mentioned some of the staff there, what is it about the staff and the volunteers that makes those activities for young people and adults with additional needs so vital to our community?
I think it just creates that environment that everybody there is welcome. And you see, I think the first couple of times Holly attended the activity, she was a little bit wary because she didn't know. She was only 7, which I think was the youngest she could attend at the time. And she was very wary. And within a couple of weeks, she was just embraced by the group, really. And everyone's equal, and they're all just happy to be there. They're all having a wonderful time. And you can see that on the faces when you go and pick her up. I get there a little bit early now, just so I can see a little happy face for 5 minutes before the end.
And again, you mentioned there around kind of the challenges that kind of you've had, and how that activity is really important in giving your family something meaningful, something really positive. When you attend those activities, how much interaction do you have with the other parents? Do you get the chance to share things that maybe are happening at home, and maybe have a little bit of support network kind of amongst parents?
So we probably don't, but it's something that it's a great idea actually. We should float that with Amelia. No, obviously we all the parents will know each other to say hello to, but I think whilst it not only gives the kids an environment to go and enjoy themselves and just relax and embrace the activities that are being put on for them, but I think it gives the parents that little bit of respite as well. So I don't think there's too many parents who hang about. But I think those that do, I'm sure they've got a bit more of a network going on. But it sounds awful, but I like to have a nice little bit of respite, because having neurodiverse kids can be quite full on. She's absolutely brilliant, Holly, but she can be full on, so it's nice to have that little bit of respite, that couple of hours on a Wednesday or Saturday morning, just to allow us to recharge our batteries so we can parent her better in the best way we can.
Yeah. And again, that's really kind of amazing to hear that kind of the activities that we provide give you the confidence that she's going to be safe, she's going to be supported, she's going to have fun, and actually she's going to kind of build some of those almost those softer skills that maybe schools aren't in a position to be able to create. So I guess kind of what's next for her in those activities? Is she interested more in kind of the art side, the drama side, the music side? What are her interests in those types of sessions?
I think if I was to ask Holly, the first thing she would say was she loves the performing. So the performances that she's been involved in 2 to now, so the Night of the Musicals, which was brilliant. That was my first experience of one of the WolfPrint performances, absolutely blown away. And from then, I think she only got involved towards the end of the planning on that. So she did a couple of little numbers in there, but she's fully involved in Annie, absolutely lived and breathed it. I'm still singing any songs walking around the house as it's Holly. And I think as soon as one's ended and they start working towards the next, Holly is fully focused on it. She absolutely loves it. And anyone who has, if you've never attended one, I would 100% suggest go and watch one because it is absolutely amazing. It really is awe-inspiring seeing the kids out there performing.
Well, again, I guess that takes me back a little bit prior to your involvement. Did you realise what the foundation did for neurodivergent young people? Did you realise what we did in terms of events, fundraising, volunteering, mental health? But did you realise any of that happened before you got involved?
To be honest, no. As a fan, you come to the stadium, you watch the game, you hear of the foundation, probably not fully aware of what goes on. I think as a bloke in my mid-40s now, I've had more of an awareness of the offload programme and the men's mental health side of things. But in terms of what's put on for children, especially now, I had no idea of it. In fact, it was my wife that found it and made me aware of it. So it was my wife that pushed Holly to go there. So yeah, I had no idea.
That's incredible. The fact that we've kind of created an activity that your children have come to, you've then kind of started to get involved in terms of activities and now kind of I would say you're one of kind of our biggest advocates as a charity, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's kind of in your social settings. I guess kind of for me, in terms of you and your family, really, is there anything else that kind of you want to kind of see us as the foundation do, whether it's for children with additional needs, whether it's for kind of blokes, whether it's other events? Is there anything that kind of you think we're missing?
I can't think of anything because I think what the foundation does at the moment is it just brings the community together. So it's the glue that holds that community together. I know that sounds a bit cliche, but as I've become involved, albeit on the periphery, you can see what a difference it makes. And I think the significant, well, by not knowing about what the WolfPrint did, for example, most people are unaware of it. So I think there's a huge amount of support that the foundation offers to the wider community that people were aware of. They'd be blown away, and I can't think of anything more. I'm sure there's plans afoot that for the foundation to do more and more, but I think that's why we need to continue raising funds and supporting.
Brilliant. So we're kind of coming to the end of our Wirecast today, but I just want you to kind of reflect and maybe reminisce. And again, I'm going to open this out to the performances on the pitch or kind of some key moments in our club's history, or potentially some of the activities that you and your family have been involved in. I want you to kind of, if you can, maybe pick out a highlight or a favourite player or something that kind of makes you smile whenever you see the Warrington Wolves badge or you come and watch a game. Could be something to do with Wolfie, could be a past player, could be a kind of a specific event. Is there anything that kind of you wake up in the morning and you kind of, yeah, I'm glad I was there for that?
There's too many to mention, but if I had to pick a few, there would probably be our first game, a shadow of a doubt, when the Australian touring team came over at Wildersfield. My dad worked in the players' bar and I was sneaked in, which was a wonderful experience getting to mingle with the Australian touring squad. The 2009 Cup final, I was in Australia until, I watched the quarter-final in Australia. The way it panned out, I came back, watched the semi-final and the final, which as a Warrington fan at that time was unheard of, going to Wembley and especially winning. The first game here, last game at Wildersfield, and more recently, it's the bike rides for me now. It really is, because it's not just the riding of the bike, it's the camaraderie and what goes on during the day. Because sitting on your bike for 12 hours, you can't just sit and pedal, look where you're going. You have some very deep and meaningful conversation, put the world to rights, and come up with some great plans for your life that may or may not come to fruition. Yeah, a huge man.
Well, and again, I think kind of we could talk for a long time about kind of your relationship with the Wolves, and thank you for being so open and honest about that. I guess I wanted to kind of finish off because we are heading towards Wembley. What are your kind of ambitions or your hopes for this Warrington team under Sam for the next kind of couple of years?
It's really odd because when I was younger, it was all about winning, and that was all I was bothered about. I think now I'm a bit more mature in life. It's about making. If I can watch Warrington and they perform, and you can see that they're giving their all, that'll do for me. If that comes with a win, brilliant. If it doesn't, and you can see that they're giving 100%, then that's all you can ask for.
Great life lesson as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time today.
Good to be here.